As a continuation of the hand retopo tutorial, what I've decided to do is take it along a little further. So you can see I've really started to add some detail here. This is like an old person's hand, big knuckles, lots of arthritis like mine. And so here's how you go about doing that. You can see I've defined the fingernail. So we're going to go and do that here. We'll start putting that fingernail in this place here. So I'll just unhide both again so we can see it. And I'm going to go and turn this into see-through. By the looks of it, yeah, there you go. Turn that off. So now what we want to do is we want to set this up to get it to so that we can kind of control this. So we need to spread some stuff out first that's here. So if we're just going to leave it as it is and paint fingernails on because we're going game res, or it was more cartoony and didn't have, real specific fingernails in there, we could leave it as is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these to the outside of where the whole nail kind of pocket is on your finger, and use this area as a way to start insetting from here. So I'm going to pull those all the way out, then into face mode, select all three of those faces, scale, hold down shift, and I'm going to pull that all the way in quite small. And you can see if I just pull it up, and then I'm going to stick that to the surface. So that's now in the middle of the nail. Now I could even scale that smaller. I could grab our scale conform. Oh, that was the relax. What am I doing? The wrong one. Scale conform to scale it down, maybe into the middle. So what's nice now is you've got an edge loop. As soon as you do that, you have an edge loop around the outside. So Alt-1, and I can drop in some edge loops around here to define the edge of the nail a bit more. So now we can start grabbing these and make sure that they follow the edge of the, all the way around the edge. Looks like I managed to grab one from the other side of the finger somewhere by mistake. And you got to be careful with that because this move tool is based on proximity, but it has nothing to do with how close it is. It's completely two-dimensional proximity, so you can accidentally grab through the mesh. I'm just going to make sure I set my smoothing groups, and then we can pull these, this one I added, this outside one, we can pull that into sort of the groove, and then the other one will come around the outside of it and then spread out. The inside one maybe scaled it a little too much, and that'll become the the meat of the nail, the top of the nail. Now you might want to define this even more, so and get it a little rounder. And you can see I've rounded it out quite a bit at this point here. So that was just adding some edge loops around, and then spreading that out and making sure that it was a little more even. So I use the relax brush with my weight down low just to make sure that it was working. And I need to cut across the bottom here. You notice I've got one that needs to be cut in half just for sake of argument. And again, then just kind of relaxing some of that and cleaning it up, make sure it looks right. And move around what you've got to move around. So these need to get moved forward. And it looks like I've changed my relax level to be a little tighter too, sort of this offset. And it probably could even go smaller when you start doing the fine details. So this offset needs to be lower when you're really getting into these fine details so that it's not sticking off the surface too much. And again, we also want to make sure that kind of hitting the crevices underneath here. So I'm just going to pull these up so we've actually got a nail. And again, this is one of those cases where I'm just going to set this really low, 0.0 or we'll go 0.2, I think it is, or is it 0.02? I think it's 0.02 I need to be at. Yeah, and then I can just push that right up underneath the edge. And you'll notice now I've defined a nail. I actually have the nail sticking off the end a bit. So now you've got something that looks a little more complete as far as it goes. Now the next thing I did as well is I went and finished off this joint here a bit more. So I'm actually going to pull this one out of the way a little bit. I might add, yeah, because it goes down. It's going down quite low here. I guess it doesn't matter. You know what? I'm going to leave that there. That should deform pretty good. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take these 6 polygons here and do the same sort of thing. I'm going to go and do an inset, or again, you can do a scale. And so I'm going to pull that in a long way, and I'm going to stick that to the surface. And at this point, I probably want to take that value back up a little bit. So 0.05, I think I've got, yeah, that should work better. And now I can also go in and relax these, relax them up into the middle more, and possibly even just pull up the sides a bit. And again, it's probably best to take 100% there. Again, look at your hotkeys. You can switch them out pretty darn fast, your weights and everything, sizes, just with hotkeys. So then again, same thing. I'm just going to do an edge loop and then stick it to the surface and make sure that I've got smooth on everything. And you'll now notice I'm sort of matching the quality of the knuckle a little more. So I can go and do that around all the knuckles, and that'll really define those and define out all of the fingernails. And then also the backs of the knuckles here on the hands, the same kind of idea. I'll spread some of these points out and then inset them so I can pick up the back of the knuckles. Anywhere you've got something really defined, this bump on the side of the hand, which is your the bump from your bone, ulnar radius. I forget which one it is now. In a panic, same thing. I'll probably grab maybe these 6 and I'll inset and create a bump for that as well, so that I have a definition there. So I'll go around and finish that off, and then you'll be able to see where I get to. Okay, so I've finished this off. You can see now I've put in all the knuckles down the thumb. I've put in all of the fingernails. Again, fingernails could have been actually done with, actual fingernails if you wanted. So you could actually put in fingernails for them if you wanted to get really crazy. I didn't bother getting these ones in the back. They look like they're probably producing enough of a bump. It's going to look pretty good, when you're looking at this. It's going to give me plenty of sort of shape and form that the normal map will then pick up pretty good. I've put in the bone at the edge of the hand here, and the edge loops are looking pretty good overall. Looks like I might need to spread this one out just a little bit more, just to make sure that's just a little bit cleaner here. And I wonder if the relax brush might get that. It did. Relax that out a little bit nicer for me. So there you go. There it is. That's done. Oh, and I got rid of the quad here. I don't know if it's really any better, or sorry, the triangle. I made it a quad by just continuing to cut down here. That might deform a little odd, but hey, it's underneath the wrist. Nobody's ever going to see it. We're not going to get that picky. I could have gone crazy and tried to find some way of getting rid of it, but that works really well. So that is, a reasonably well designed retopo for a hand. I'd call this sort of, a little higher in game, unless you were going pretty high level game and you really wanted to see the hands. It would work great for most TV series application, whatnot, with a open sub div on it, so that it was being subdivision surfaced. And again, what we might want to do if we're doing an open sub div is actually do a run over it and have it all stand a little further off the surface than what it is, just so that once it's got the open sub div, it isn't shrinking too much, because right now it might be shrinking a little too much. You turn this on and off and you can see a little volumes being lost. So you might have to make sure that when you're sticking the retopo to the surface, you're actually making sure it's sticking out a little further than you might expect. So make sure you're watching the subdivision surface level of it. So these tries are now down from the vert count, I guess we had, it was 3.5 million initially, went down to 60,000 with the decimation, and then And now it's down to 4,400, which is super clean. Take the open sub div off, and it's down to 1,100 for a nice looking clean hand. There you go.